What's something you wish you were better at?
Man, I guess my biggest failure, I'm not ashamed to admit it, and it's probably a lot of guys like us are in the same boat, is it's tough to maintain a marriage when you do the kind of work we do. And so I've been married several times. I'm not going to be ashamed of that. Of course, I've lost my kids because of that. I've lost a lot of things on a personal level, but, like they say in, special forces is your mistress, and reality is that's what happens to, guys like you and me in this line of work. You're gone all the time, and really the job becomes the life, and your teammates become the brothers. And in a lot of ways, your family is taking the back seat, And I think we all probably go down range and we think about the days when they come where we get to spend it with all our kids and, and live this happy, nuclear family life. But when that day finally comes, we're older, they're older, they're off to college, the wife's not interested anymore. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's part of the, that comes with the job, and so it sucks, but you can't have it both ways, and that's kind of what happened to me. Obviously, I've been married several times. It's not because I'm a bad husband; it's just I was never around, So
Oh, it's tough for sure. Same boat, not several times, but yeah.
Well, people always ask me. I'll be upfront about it. I've been married. I'm on my 5th marriage.
Oh, no shit.
And I did a speech one time in Las Vegas, right? And I was telling people about my background. I got married several times, and everybody got really quiet in the audience. I go, I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, Comstock, why would you keep getting married? And the only answer I could come up with was, because I'm not a quitter. That's all what else you going to tell them, right?
It made sense at the time. But I mean, that makes me curious, like for say 3 and 4, was there part of you that thought like, the odds are stacked against me or that like it's just a matter of time? Like, is there any of that negativity going into it, or were you full all the way in?
Talking about what?
3rd and 4th marriage.
Oh, yeah. No, you know what? There's always doubt. And, I hate to say I'm a subject matter expert on it. I've really learned a lot about relationships, marriages, women. And the reality is this, man. This is what I tell to a lot of my coaching clients. Most of them are men. I've got over 400 guys that, follow me. They're my coaching clients. And I don't think I'm wrong on this one, but, we as men are providers and protectors, right? Women tend to be nurturers. We have gender roles. Now, I'm sorry, feminists out there, but that's the reality. And, and when you really look at the social dynamics of marriage and relationships, the evolutionary perspective of it, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, men are only as valuable as long as they can provide and contribute, right? Once you can't do that, you're on your knees, you're on your ass, women tend to lose interest because they start looking for the next guy that can provide because that's what they need. They need that security and protection. And so I'm more realistic, more pragmatic. I do love my wife. Actually, I loved all of them, right? And so, but I also understand that, statistically, there's 80% of divorces are initiated by women, 90% by women with college degrees, and 95% of the time they get everything, child support, custody, everything. And here's the sad part about it, right? We go into this contract as men and women, and, we are expected to provide and protect. They're expected to take care of the kids, the house, nurture us, sex, all those types of things that go with that. But once the marriage contract is broken, we are forced by the state, you and I, to continue that role, provide and protect, right? And all those things, but the other half is not, right? They're free and clear. So when you start thinking it from the macro level and you start, paring it down to the micro level, it's like, man, I hate to say it, but there's not a little incentive left in America for men to get married because it's probably going to end disastrously. And so I'm being a realist about it. I'm 62 years old, been down that road, and I did get married again, but I didn't marry an American woman. I married, my wife is Asian, and it's been a good relationship. We've been together for 10 years, and so yeah, I understand that at the end of the day, this may not work out. There's all kinds of variables. There's the other guy, there's all kinds of things that can happen. So when you go in with that mindset, in fact, I heard a guy say it one time, if you want to be successful in marriage, go into it with low expectations. And, that was perfectly said. Just have low expectations when you get married. Yeah. Just do you, let her do her, and hopefully together, enjoy your time together, and it all works out.
Hopefully together you can do each other, right?
Right.
I mean, for sure sage advice, and I don't disagree with any of it. I mean, there is a lot on the line, and less incentive for men, I think, to get married today.
Especially in the West.
Yeah.
West is really bad for it.
If time travel were possible, go forward, back, as far, either direction, where and when would you go?
Great question. I would go forward. And here's the thing, now again, like I said, I'm older, I'm more studied, and I've really gotten heavily involved in the idea that, the universe, energy, electricity, even you look at AI, it's like, we've gone to a point from 20, 30 years ago when the Terminator came out, Matrix came out, it's all this sci-fi stuff, but here we are, we're actually living it, man. We've got artificial intelligence. We have artificial intelligence that has senescence, self-awareness. When you start looking at AI and you start asking questions like, who are we? And it's like, are we just consciousness experiencing the human condition, right? Or are we actually, carbon-based matter that actually has consciousness? Some really interesting questions. And then, you throw in the UFO alien mix in this whole thing. And it really makes me wonder, what's in store for us in the next 20 years, 50 years, 100 years? Where are we going to be? And I would love to be, here's a cool thing that came out recently. It's suggested by the year 2050, around that time, we will be able to upload our minds into a hard drive, into a computer, right? And that sounds really crazy, but if you think about it, the brain is nothing but a computer. It works off, it needs bioenergy. And so if you were able to upload your brain into a computer, a hard drive, and now with look at robots, man. I mean, holy cow, these things are very lifelike and human, right? Human-like. And you can install your hard drive into a computer. It's possible that you could live forever, And so I'm really curious about where the world is going to go. And I wish I could hang around for that, and be there. I'd like to be around in 200 years. The world will be so different, I think.
I mean, that also begs the question is, let's say you and I, or you, since the question's geared towards you, let's say you're still here when that happens. Would you do it? Would you download your consciousness into a 20-year-old body and
I would
keep going?
I would. You know what? Because the body's just a vessel, right? And the consciousness, what is the consciousness and the subconsciousness, right? The brain and the mind are two separate things. A lot of people conflate them, but they're not. And so where's the mind at, right? It's actually your entire nervous system all at the DNA level. It's energy, it's frequency. But if I was able to take my energy, my frequency, and then basically transfer to, into a system and live in perpetuity, right? And then eventually maybe install it into a lifelike an android. And here's the thing, right? People go, well, I don't want to be a robot, but think about it like this. Here we are today. We can actually make bioidentical hormones. Now we're making, skin, organs. I mean, all this is going to happen, right? And the day will come when you'll have androids. You won't know if it's a human or not. And guess what? The android will be able to experience all the pain and pleasure as we do as humans. You know why? Because pain and pleasure is only experienced by the mind, not the body, right? The body is just a sensor system. So if you were able to install a system like that, your mind into a robot, I think it's possible that you could live the human experience. You could still live the human experience. You just have now, an alternate body.
Well, I wonder on that same, I guess, paradigm is that, if we can grow, organs and bone grafts and, things like that, I mean, 30, 40, 50 years from now, you may be able to grow an entire body and not have any of it be what you would consider synthetic. Obviously, the whole thing is technically synthetic, but not like the Terminator example where it's like flesh-covered metal exoskeleton. Like it could be a normal human body. Yeah. The thing that I find fascinating, and it I think kind of turns into a bit of a rabbit hole, but is that, if you think about kind of the consequences of that from a societal standpoint, is that because in that regard, you could, physically design the body you want, right? So it could be whatever height, size, musculature, race, whatever.
Right.
You could, Mr. Potato Head, this Adonis perfect body, if that's what you want, or whatever. But the implications from a societal standpoint, though, of dating, of procreating, it's like now when there's a cheat code right? Like everybody can have whatever body they want.
That's right.
You know, it's like I think it would. There would be consequences that are unintended that are impossible to even fathom how
Yeah.
potentially detrimental they could be, because it would change the interaction and the desire to want to, have families
Yeah.
or not if you don't need to do it. I mean, like there's a lot of other things I think that are below the layers of just that initial, like, could you do it? It reminds me of the Jeff Goldblum, whatever his character's name is in Jurassic Park, where he says, we were so wrapped up about whether or not we could or couldn't achieve this milestone in recreating dinosaurs, we never stopped to think if we should.
Consequences.
Yeah, it's just, I think there's just a lot of other things that would be a byproduct of that are probably impossible to even forecast. But
I think we don't know what we don't know. So, sociologically, it's my opinion, I think we'll figure it out. And so let's just say, really, if you, depending on whether you're a creationist or an evolutionist, right? If you're a creationist, you believe in the Bible, believe in God, there was a time that we lived 600, 700, 800, 900 years, right? If you look at it from an evolutionary standpoint, now scientists believe that we can live at least 120 to 150 years, right? We have the potential to do that just naturally, maybe even beyond that right now with AI and so forth. But I think if we have the technology, the know-how to create an alternate life, an alternate body, I think we can also create a parallel social construct that would accommodate this new paradigm, right? And I think we could figure it out, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the human condition, we're kind of some strange cats, man. There's some, like, for example, the idea of, monogamy, again, who created that idea that we should only be married to one person, right? It comes out of the Bible, but who wrote the Bible, right? But even if you look at the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, there's actually, there's words in there that basically say that men can have polygamous relationships. They're only, just like a Mormon, just like Muslims. You just have to be able to, provide separate quarter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we create these social constructs, and do we really create them for good social order, or are we doing it because there are people that want to control and manipulate, right? And I would say it's the latter at the end of the day, right? So I go through life with an open mind, and as I said, as I get older, I collect information, I have more experiences, and I contemplate this quite a bit, and I think, why not? Like, for example, if an alien landed in the parking lot right now and said, hey, you want to get on board? If you come with us, you ain't coming back. You want to go? I'd probably go.
No shit.
I'd probably go.
What's your fifth wife think about that?
Yeah, well, she's good. She's taken care of. I mean, dude, I gave her the world, right?
Yeah.
She's good.
I guess it wouldn't matter if it pissed her off, right?
Well, yeah, because you know what? Because it's obviously this is proof that there's something bigger than all of us out here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and that's the thing, right? We all have this existentialist belief that, we have this much time and then we're going to die and then we're gone, right? I don't subscribe to that. I believe we live on, not in body, but in spirit. What is spirit? Energy, frequency, And so I don't think we really die. And I think there's more out there than we're aware of. Right now, we're just experiencing the human condition, Maybe that's what we are, is consciousness. Part of the divine consciousness, experiencing the human condition. I know that sounds like a lot of psychobabble, but I've done a lot of work in this area, a lot of research in this area. I'm fascinated by it, and I'll share some other stuff with you later about actually creating reality and manifesting. It works, and it's all a function. Success is a function of physics, and that's all it is. Success is based on physics, nothing else. Has nothing to do with hard work, has nothing to do with philosophy, and I'll break all that down later on if you want to hear about it. But
yeah.
Yeah.